Howard Croom played football at Oregon State. Alex Crawford's with us. We're talking about the Pac-12 football release on Cofield and company. What do you think, Howard?
What this schedule highlights to me, and I know we're going to talk about it a little bit, is the non-conference games. There's some very, very competitive non-conference games on the schedule, and I think that's going to kind of serve kind of like bowl season to show, hey, here's some of our teams on display against the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, and we're going to show you guys that the Pac-12 means business, and we have that opportunity with the 2021 schedule.
Sticking with Howard, I think it's gigantic the beginning of the season that the Pac-12 shows well, because I'll tell you, nationally, there was a notion out there like, hey, you know what, recruits? You want to play football anywhere but the Pac-12 because everywhere else, football matters. In the Pac-12, it doesn't matter. And that's a hard thing to shake. And the way you shake it is to go out and face non-con opponents and beat them.
Absolutely. And I think that the Pac-12 is set up to do that. If you just start week one, and week one it's not the heavy part of the non-conference schedule, but it does start out. And then going into week two, then you've got some really big ones. You got LSU coming out to the Rose Bowl to play against UCLA. That's a major, major game. Anytime you got the SEC coming out west, to challenge a Pac-12 team, they're 2 years off of a national championship. So, they've got a ton of fight. They got a ton of talent. And then the real big one, Oregon going to Ohio State. That's going to be a showcase game right there for the Pac-12. And Oregon's been known to do that. They've gone to Auburn early in the season. So going to Ohio State, who just played in the national championship, that is an opportunity for the defending Pac-12 champions to go punch a national powerhouse in the mouth and show that, hey, we mean business out here. And then lastly, for week two, we've got Washington going to Michigan. Michigan underperformed a little bit last year, but we know what their expectations are every year. We know what their recruiting is like. So they've got a ton of talent on that roster. And those are three games right there that the Pac-12 can make a national statement to recruits and to the college football playoff committee.
Alex Crawford is with us. That's the voice of Howard Croom. He played football at Oregon State. If those teams freaking smoke the Pac-12 opponent, it's going to look bad. One, that they got beat up badly, but two, Ohio State's breaking in a new quarterback. Harbaugh was down last year. LSU sucked. If the Pac-12 doesn't win those games or doesn't compete, even worse, the national narrative will be these guys aren't even like in their prime form and they kicked your ass.
And that's why there's so much pressure. Alex said it best. To be the best, you have to beat the best. And at the flip side of that coin is if you get beat up when these teams, like you said, are breaking in new quarterbacks and Harbaugh's down, man, it's not going to look good. But I think there's something to look. You have to step up your talent. You can't get better by only scheduling, Eastern Washington and God bless them, San Jose State and San Diego State. Those are good teams, but you've got to get a step up in talent so you can eventually, work your way to being on par with the SEC.
We're talking about the Pac-12 football release. We got our experts in Southern California, Alex Crawford, Howard Croom, who played tight end at Oregon State.